everyone, we are from Syndicate 1. I'm Jihan and I'm here with my group member Fasya, Faris, Maesa, Roman, and May. And we will explain our scenario planning analysis for Toyota over 10 years. Toyota is one of the world's most largest and most well-known automotive company. It was
Founded in 1937 in Aichi, Japan by Kiichiro Toyoda, and today it operates in more than 170 markets around the world. Toyota is
famous for the Toyota production system, which focus on lean manufacturing, high efficiency, and reliable quality. The system has made Toyota a global example of operational excellence.
For over 20 years, Toyota has led the market in hybrid technology, with the Prius becoming one of the most recognized eco-friendly cars in the world. Toyota product portfolio is very wide, covering mass-market vehicle, commercial model, and premium cars under the Lexus brand. This strong product range and global supply chain help Toyota stay competitive and profitable. Today, under CEO Koji Sato, Toyota is moving forward sustainability, electrification, mobility service, and new powertrain technology.
Here we can see this timeline journey about Toyota EV development. Toyota pioneered hybrid vehicle in 1970, expanded hybrid adoption in the 2000s, and focused heavily on hydrogen fuel cell with the Mirai in 2014. In the early 2020, Toyota entered the battery EV market relatively late, introducing the BZ series. Looking forward to 2035, Toyota plans to accelerate EV development with solid-state battery, although the execution remains uncertain.
Nowadays, Toyota still strong in hybrid, but weak in full battery EV compared to BYD and Tesla. High global sales, but weak in EV innovation, tighter emission regulation, and supply chain disruption. However, Toyota still have gap for future shifting for the next 10 years. The first gap is technology gap. Toyota has led to shifting to full EV compared to its competitor. And for the next 10 years, the regulator, market, and competitor has already shifting to full EV vehicle.
So, the strategy gap, Toyota must shifting to hybrid-centric to EV-centric strategy.
Based on this background, we identified the focal issue that will guide our scenario development is how should Toyota accelerate its technology and market transformation to stay competitive as the industry continues shifting toward EV adoption over the next 10 years. This question will become the foundation for the next step in our scenario planning.
Hey guys, welcome back to Syndicate 1.
You know Toyota are the king of reliable mass market cars. Well, we just finished dissecting their strategy for the next 10 years. The question is, will Toyota become an extinct dinosaur or will they emerge as an EV titan? We're breaking it down using two essential drive forces like.
Without further ado, let's get started.
Now, let's look at the structure. Toyota's life is surrounded by three layers like a strategic onion. The outermost layer, the indirect environment or contextual environment, is like the global weather. This is where politics and economic situations and government policy live. Toyota can't control this, only forecast it. If the weather is bad, for example like trade wars, everyone will suffer. The second layer is the direct environment or transactional environment. This is the direct battle arena. It includes the competitor move, trying to start a fight, the suppliers who jack up battery prices and fade off their distributors. At the core, we have the actor, which is the only one Toyota capabilities. This is what they must strengthen: values, leadership, employee capability, and this is Toyota's internal muscles and guts, needed to fight the two enemy circles surrounding them. The takeaway is Toyota's success in 2035 isn't just about building a great cars. It's about how quickly they can transform their muscles, such as internal capability to fight the rules or regulations and their biggest rivals, BYD and Tesla. Alright, this is Toyota's strategic map. We have two axes: impact, how much it affects the bottom line, and uncertainty, how difficult it is to predict. See this area, the lower right, this is Toyota's superpower zone. Internal factors like number 5, values, and number 3, operation efficiency are high impact but low uncertainty. That means Toyota is excellent at controlling this area. This is their foundations. Now, here's the danger zone, the upper right. We call this the critical zone. Here we have number 15, government policy, and 16, politics. The rules that can suddenly ban gasoline cars. We also have number 19, technology advancement, like solid-state batteries. All of these are highly uncertain and highly impactful. And number 14, competitor move, Tesla and BYD. And the last one, distributor intimacy, are also stuck up here. Toyota's survival depends on how they address these 5 crucial, unpredictable factors.
So guys, today I'm going to explain about the third phase of the scenario planning for Toyota shifts to EV, and then I will explain about the chaos part. The chaos part means that it has a low government support and then a high moving fast competitor. Okay guys, so now we're going to explain about the third phase of the scenario planning, which are the chaos scenario. For my part, I will explain about the chaos scenario, which is in the left up side of the quadrant. In this world, new EV and tech players move extremely fast. They flood the market with cheap BEVs and keep cutting prices, so the whole industry is pulled into a speed and price race, competing only on technology, and cost becomes very intense. At the same time, government keeps talking about net zero, but the real support is limited and fragmented. Incentives are small and focused mostly on the BEVs. Charging infrastructure is rolled out slowly, and long-term rules are not clear. Customer demands also becomes fragmented and very volatile. Urban buyers rush into BEVs, while many other customers still rely on ICE or hybrids. As a result, plants, suppliers, and inventories that were designed for a stable powertrain mix suddenly do not match reality and come under pressure. Now I'm going to explain the chaos for the fourth phase, which are the option considerations. In this chaos scenario, the implications for Toyota are quite serious. First, EV competitions and price wars are very intense, which makes it harder for Toyota to win or even defend their market share. Profitability on BEV models goes down because prices are pushed lower while costs, especially batteries, remain high. Demand is volatile and there is a big risk that Toyota can invest in the wrong powertrain and ending up with the wrong capacity in the wrong place. To respond, Toyota needs a set of options. One option is to look for blue ocean or market development opportunities for EVs by region instead of fighting head-on in the most crowded segments. We also need cost-competitive BEV and hybrid product innovation so we can survive in the price race without destroying margins. Next, we should increase customer engagement through dealers and digital channels so we can steer different segments toward the right powertrain. We also need to strengthen Toyota's product and brand identity around a carbon neutral multi-pathway story, not only pure BEV. And finally, production efficiency must increase with flexible multi-powertrain plants that can switch between ICE and BEV, depending on how the demand actually moves. The first group of signals is about fast EV players and the price race. We watch whether new BEV brands gain market share very quickly and whether BEV price cuts and heavy discounts become routine. If that becomes the new normal, it is a strong signal that we are moving into chaos. The second group is about government support. If we see many net zero announcements but only small or short-term EV budgets, and if charging projects or regulations change frequently or face delays, that tells us government support is still low and fragmented. The third group is about demand patterns. We monitor whether BEV sales are very strong in big cities while uptake in other regions stays slow, and whether forecast errors become larger with some plants or lines overworked and others underused. When these patterns appear together, they are our early warning that the chaos scenario is unfolding and that Toyota must activate the options we have prepared for this quadrant.
Now, I'm going to explain about the second quadrant. This quadrant is actually can be very beneficial for Toyota, but it also presents risk for the company. This is because the competition in this quadrant where the competitor move fast and the government support the EV industry, the competition will be very fierce. And the price will go lower and lower, which can make the industry profit become smaller. However, because this lower price, the market can potentially grow even bigger because now people will prefer to go to the EV industry and buy EV vehicles. However, this situation could be a nightmare for traditional slow-moving company as the other competitor will be sprinting while they're just walk slowly, and then they will have a high probability for bankruptcy.
The situation of in the industry impact the company, where the company would feel a greater pressure to innovate faster, and their current innovation could also be less valuable in the future as the innovation in the industry grow even faster. And then, because the price getting lower, lower, and lower, as mentioned previously, the profit the company get will be also become smaller. As the price getting smaller, but the cost stay constant. However, Toyota will get a larger potential number of customers since the market also grow bigger. Lastly, the impact for the company, there will be the chance for them to have less competitor because the traditional company would go bankruptcy and lose in the competition. And then the option for them to overcome this impact of the situation are they need to invest in the EV innovation as soon as possible, as early as possible, to beat the competition in the future. They can also do strategic partnership with competitors and suppliers to cut costs and become the cost leader in the industry. Lastly, they need to also keep innovating and cost cutting to keep up with the competition. The early warning sign of this situation are the government will start to introduce the EV subsidies, the sales of the EV will start to rise, competitors start to lower the EV prices, and lastly, more EV variant will be appeared in the market. Governor!
Yes.
Many people say that government support for electric vehicle is very weak. How do you respond to that?
Okay, to respond many people about electric vehicle adoption. So from government, I will explain again that we cannot provide a big incentive and a strong incentive for the electric vehicle adoption. So because we should balance anything, many priorities such as public health, education, infrastructure, and many essential services. So sorry, from government we cannot provide a big incentive as big as people expect. Thank you.
Many analysts say that competitors in the automotive industry are moving slowly in electric vehicle transition. How Tesla's perspective, why is this happening?
Okay guys, me as executive of Tesla company should explain to you first about our problem faced for the transition to electric vehicles. We have several problems such as infrastructure limitation about the developing of the batteries, and then the supply chain of the batteries, and then the capital also become a big factor. So from the several problems, we still do the movement, but yeah, it should take time for Tesla to develop the electric vehicle. So the movement will be slowly, and then yeah, it will take time. Thank you.
Okay, for the next stage, it's stage 4, and I'm focused on the quadrant 3. It's about the slow movement of competitor and the low support of the government. For the first, the government support for electric vehicle is minimal. This means Toyota received no big incentive and no strong regulatory for push to speed up the electric vehicle development. And then the second one, competitors are moving slowly. Second, Toyota's competitors are also moving slowly. High battery costs and unstable supply chain make it difficult for them to expand their electric vehicle production quickly. And then the third one is consumer prefer hybrids. Consumer will feel more comfortable with hybrid cars. Electric vehicles are still expensive and charging infrastructure is limited, so people are not ready to fully using electric vehicle. And then the last one is market feels too stable. And finally, the market environments become unchallenging. This creates a risk that Toyota may become too comfortable and slow down innovation. Okay, for the option for Toyota, for the first strengthen hybrid lineup. One option is to strengthen Toyota hybrid lineup since the market still prefer hybrids. This helps Toyota to maintain the competitive advantage. And then the second one is develop electric vehicle gradually. They can prepare flexible factories that can switch between gasoline cars, hybrids, and electric vehicles. And then the third one is about secure battery and chips supply.
This protects Toyota from future cost spikes and prepares them for rising EV demand. And then the fourth one, use dealers to educate consumers. Toyota can use its dealers network to educate consumers about the total cost of owning an electric vehicles. Dealers can act as a substitute for government guidance. The fourth one is strengthen after-sales ecosystem. They can also enhance after-sales and service systems to keep profitability stable in a slow electric vehicle market. And then the last one, prepare a market shift plan. And finally, Toyota should prepare a market shift contingency plan. So if electric vehicle adoption suddenly increase, Toyota can react quickly. Thank you. Okay, the last one, we are talking about the signal that companies should to pay attention to that. And I'm focused explained in the part 3. It's about the slow movement of the competitor of Toyota and the low support from government. The first condition from government action. They show that policymakers are beginning to take electric vehicle development more seriously when they have started discussing new electric vehicle incentive and faster regulation. And then the second condition is about falling battery prices condition. Since batteries are the most expensive part of an electric vehicle, this drop will make electric cars more affordable and more attractive for consumers. And then the third one, when the condition from competitors sales rising, such as from Tesla, BYD, Hyundai with rising sales charts. This is a strong sign that the market is gaining momentum and that consumers are starting to adopt electric vehicles in the larger numbers. The fourth one, from growth of charging infrastructure condition. As more charging stations become available in everywhere, electric vehicles become easier and more convenient to use. And then the last one, in the condition of consumer preference is shifting. People are becoming more open to fully electric cars as prices decrease and infrastructure improve. And finally, market surveys show that consumers are slowly shifting their preference from hybrids to full battery electric vehicles or electric vehicles. So it indicates that these changes show that the global electric vehicle shift might happen much faster than expected. With government support increasing, battery costs falling, competitors growing, infrastructure expanding, and consumers changing their preference, the market is entering a new, faster phase of electric vehicle adoption.
Next scenario is a opportunity scenario. What is in this scenario is first condition is competitors is slow in innovation, slow in make a new model, and also slow in expanding. And the second condition is when the government is so active, they introduce the strict regulation, give incentive, and push for electrification and sustainability. What is the implication of this scenario? First, regulation become the main drivers, not the market anymore. Second is when EV increase the incentive, so forcing the company to accelerate their activity. And the third is compliance standard is so high in this industry and competitors fall behind, giving Toyota space to lead. The last one, the implication is biggest risk is no longer competitor but failing to meet the regulation. So from the implication, Toyota have three options in this situation. First, accelerate regulatory compliance. The second one is to leverage incentive in a hybrid and EV. And the last one, build a collaboration with the government. And next we move to the integration, or we call it early signing. What is the early signing in this situation? First, government rules is increased. Next is competitor delay the electrification. Consumers shift because of the subsidies. And of course, Toyota will face high complaint. In this scenario, adaptive quietly regulation is the key to handle this situation.
Atau kamu gini?
Oke.
Kamu gini nih, mau?
Oke.
Yeah. Hello everyone.
I'm Jihan.
The next scenario is we call it as a property.
This for electric vehicle.
Nah,
Oh ya?
Kamu implication